Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Today, I'd like to discuss the role of empathy in the therapeutic relationship and its importance in counselling. I will also reflect on my personal journey in developing this skill. I would call it a myriad of micro skills involved in attending to another person empathically and creating that space where not only do I have compassion for that person, but they also feel listened to and believed. Empathy is widely understood as an essential characteristic of good counselling. Rogers, back in 1957, defined empathy as involving an understanding of the client's feelings and experiences from their perspective. Fostering a deeper connection and trust forms the basis of a therapeutic alliance. It's person-led, and we are looking at outcomes that are positive, driven by the person, and the sense of safety they feel with the counsellor is essential to that process. When counsellors exhibit empathy, clients feel valued and understood, enhancing their willingness to engage with the therapeutic process. It's not just about having people come back, it's about ensuring people's emotional safety. This is an important responsibility, especially when we're dealing with people reconnecting to past experiences that are difficult and when they're trying to process those experiences in a helpful way. What we're trying to do in some ways when we're creating empathic spaces is create a safe space for a person to process difficult emotions, memories, cognitions. Empathy facilitates the process of emotional healing. When people feel seen and heard, they're more likely to confront painful experiences and feel comfortable looking at a new way of thinking about those experiences. So people might choose, for an example, to, as an adult, love the neglected inner child. This aligns with the concept of neuroplasticity, which highlights the brain's ability to rewire itself through emotional experiences. A counsellor provides a relational experience, and that can be strongly reinforcing when a person is acknowledged and appreciated for the changes they make in how they operate around difficult subjects. People can develop new maps in their mind for how they think about situations, and that can have impacts on the way that they operate in the world as well. We also need to think about how much people bring up at any one time and ensure that we are aware of how deep someone is going into a traumatic experience. Almost a sense of the weight of the emotional content that somebody is carrying or that is activated when we immerse ourselves in other people's experience. An important way of doing this is by checking in with people around how they are feeling, and it's quite possible that we don't know and we may be surprised. But it's also about having this intuitive attendance characterized by those many micro skills and developed through experience. And I'd say through exposure to criticism and supervision as a counsellor too. Checking in with the client themselves about how they're feeling is really important. In my own journey, I've certainly had emotions and experiences that were difficult to think about. And it's through practicing in a safe space that I can reframe those experiences and they've become emotionally safe for me to think about. I've experienced exposing myself to other people's attention and with both good and bad results. Empathy is a subtle skill to master and it requires humility and open-mindedness so that we're giving people those positive outcomes. Open-mindedness is really an experience that, when cultivated, can create spaces where we aren't inhibited by our usual filters. This could involve engaging with art or culture that's different from our own, or engaging in creative processes that involve being disinhibited. Cultivating open-mindedness is a good idea in itself. We need to be willing to unlearn things that we've learned. As counsellors, being empathetic, we are required constantly to do this because we're exposing ourselves to very personal content from individuals, and we may not always get it right when we listen. Being heard itself is almost a human right. If they could legislate it, the people probably would, because it is a human need to be listened to, the right to be heard. If someone at least some of the time experiences being heard, going to a counsellor is definitely one of those times. We want to ensure that we are doing our best to meet people's needs. So an element of it is compassion, which can be driven also by our sense of justice. In real terms, when counselling, empathy means holding space that is very open, with a range of skills hovering in the background, ready to be used. One of the skills that's important is having a sense of how much strain somebody is holding, and also how much can be processed within a given time period. By looking at time and space, we can return to being grounded in the physical reality of the here and now. And draw back out of memories, experiences, or self-talk to that place where we really feel safe. One of the things I'm interested in the future in my own practice is using nature experiences. That sense of feeling safe in the here and now can be facilitated by nature, using the treasure trove of experiences like listening to the wind, smelling the flowers, hearing the bees, feeling the earth beneath our feet, the sun on our back. Returning to the here and now can be a way of coming back to safety. As counsellors, we sit with people in places of pain, and sometimes we need to sit with the pain somebody is in without being directive, without trying to find a solution, and without trying to make people feel safer or be safer. We're witnesses, and we're allowing the person to find their own way to make meaning out of their experiences. And sometimes looking for solutions or ways of solving a problem can actually be, for a counsellor, a way of avoiding the uncomfortable emotions and comfortable sitting with and being present for the person. We have to remind ourselves to avoid trying to solve a problem and be with the person in that place of pain. People may find a way to operate with pain, or they may become desensitized to pain through exposure in therapy, or because of the safety we create. As a person-led process, we're not ticking boxes. We are looking for people to self-actualize. So the potential within counselling for positive outcomes is as broad as people are individuals. Thank you.